Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Now, I was pre-filming before my wedding, so I haven't actually filmed in like 2 weeks. My wedding was a few days ago, and I have already, like in all of the videos I posted leading up where I would say, you know, we just picked up our wedding bands or we just did this, I kept getting requests to do my makeup routine that I was planning on wearing for the wedding. So this is actually what I wore on my wedding day. Same products, there's only one substitution, and I'll get into that in the video, but this is what I did. It's very soft, it's very natural, it's very bridal. So I hope you enjoy it. If you do, make sure to like this video. And don't forget to subscribe. I do upload twice a week. So subscribing is the best way to stay up to date on all the fun stuff I'm posting. And without further ado, let's get right into it. So I couldn't not do my go-to combination. So I did use the Tarte Clean Slate Primer and the J1 Jelly Pack. I used the Tarte one to smooth out pretty much every imperfection I have. And then I took the J1 Jelly Pack pretty much everywhere else, because the biggest thing for me on the wedding day was to make sure that everything lasted all day long. Now for foundation, I did go in with my Fenty Dior combination, which obviously I've been talking about for months as my favorite, but what I did do that was a little different is rather than mix a bunch of it on my beauty blender, I went in with a lot less. So I went in with like 1.5 pumps of each, and I put them dotted throughout the face. And then I blended it out because I didn't want an exorbitant amount of coverage. I just kind of wanted to even everything out and make it look, you know, flawless and airbrushed and whatnot. But I didn't really want to look like I was wearing makeup. The big thing for me on my wedding, above all else, was natural, because for me, that's not something I do all that often. So I really wanted to just augment and not really like mask. And now, because this was my wedding day and I really wanted natural, I took a little bit extra of the Dior on the back of the beauty blender, and I just dotted that where I wanted a little more coverage. The Fenty is beautiful, don't get me wrong, but it is more of a much matte finish. And for my wedding day, I wanted something a little more demi-matte, and I find that this is more satin. So when you get more of a skin-like appearance, I knew I was gonna set it with powder, but I really wanted to make sure that it was natural. So I know this is new for me, but you can definitely see a little bit of my imperfections showing through. It definitely looks more natural, which is what I was going for. I did want this to even out all, blend. I really wanted to even out my complexion without really going overboard with the coverage. So then, with my Shape Tape Concealer, just adding a little bit more coverage where I want it, I concealed everything. And even though I went in lighter with the foundation, I concealed as normal. And then to prime my lids, a little bit of my MAC Painterly Paint Pot. And with my Mercier Translucent Setting Powder, I set down everything. Then on my flat Sephora number 30 with my Studio Fix, wrong side, my Studio Fix powder in NW20, I just kind of buffed everything together. And then once that's done, on my Sonia Kashuk number 1 with that same powder, I just press a little bit more into the under eye area. So I did go for very natural, but I still contoured with my Kat Von D Shade and Light. So I used the middle and lightest shade to contour and this pinky shade to brighten. So I'm just gonna quickly do that. Now I did go lighter on the contour because I went a little heavy on the bronze. I took my Marc Jacobs on that same number 1 and I added just some dimension and bronze to the face. Then on my number 29, also from Sonia Kashuk, I took Milani's Luminoso, and I added just a little bit to the cheeks. And then to mend all this together so that it doesn't look kind of harsh, I went in with my medium golden mineralized skin finish from MAC, which is a little deeper than my skin tone on my flat Sephora number 30, and I just blended all of that together. And you see how that still has all of the different colors, it's just a little more seamless? That's what I was going for. Next, I took my Skindinavia Oil Control Priming Spray and I did a layer. Now, amateur mistake, and I am recreating my wedding look, so I'm doing exactly what I did. I forgot my fan, so I'm going to sit here and let this air dry and not use my fan because I didn't have it on my wedding day, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I did use the Morphe and Jaclyn Hill palette because I did find that such a neutral palette is like amazing for such a neutral look. Now this is gonna be a little different just because I just freaked out while I was off camera and I had to call my future sister-in-law because I'm missing my M504, which is the first brush I always go in with on my shadow, and I haven't done my makeup since the wedding, so we kind of both had all of our shit everywhere. So luckily she has two, which means she has mine. So instead, since I don't have it, I'm gonna be taking the M411, and I'm going to be, let me get the shade name so I know what the hell I'm doing. I'm gonna start by dipping into a mixture of Silk Cream and MFEO and define the crease. Okay, I'm switching that out for an R37 just because it wasn't quite as fluffy as the M504. This is a little bit fluffier because I did blow that out a little bit over the crease, and I really just wanted to really emulate what I did, because what's the point of doing a video of this is what I did on my wedding if I don't do like as close to it as humanly possible? Then I went into Pooter, this shade right here, and I just fluffed that basically in the entire crease area. Then going into the M411, which was a little bit smaller and denser, I went into, no, I didn't go into that. I went into Buns, this brown right here, and I just took that directly into the socket of the eye. I did not fluff that all the way into the crease. I kept that a little bit more control. And then with this same brush, I actually took a little bit of that shade and I just ran it on the lower lash line, because I really wanted it to look tied together, but I didn't want it to look over the top. Then on an M433, I took a little bit of Mocha down here, and I just stamped a very light amount of this on the outer V of the eye. Now normally I would take this and I would buff it into the crease, but instead I went in on the E45 from Sigma with that same color, and I used this to define the crease and drag that color through. As opposed to making it really fluffy, I wanted it to just be a little bit more precise. And then going back to the initial R37, I'm just going to blend all of that out a little bit so we have no actual harshness. Then taking a flat synthetic shader brush, I took a little bit of Silk Cream, the lightest matte shade, and I took that all over the lid. And then, as always, blend. And I took Beam, the yellowy highlight right here, and I just took a very light amount on the brow bone. And as always, on the inner corner, I took Flexitarian. Now for the reception, I did take a little bit of Faint, this shimmer shade right here, on the lid, and I added a little bit of the Stila glitter in Diamond Dust, which was a silver glitter on the inner corner. But that's a look I've done about 1,000,000 times. I really want to keep the matte lid because that's what I wore for the ceremony. And for me, that's, you know, the wedding is the ceremony. The reception's just kind of for fun. So at this point, I took the Skindinavia Oil Control Setting Spray and set down the face. So while I'm waiting on the face to dry, I'm going to take a little bit of the Fenty Universal Gloss Balm, which is what I wore on my lips, and I'm just gonna throw that on. Then I'm going to just curl my lashes. I did not put on any mascara. All I did was curl my lashes because I didn't want anything super over the top. So I'm gonna do that real quick and I'll be right back. And then for glow, it is my wedding day. Normally I do 4, I actually only use 2. So I started by adding Peach Goddess from Jeffree Star, adding that to the high points of the face. And then over that, to really add this a new dimension, I took Champagne Pop from Jaclyn Hill and Becca. The tools are just as important as the makeup. I did use a brand new M510 and a brand new beauty blender on my wedding day. Normally I love my old brushes and as you use them, they get better. But for highlight, a brand new M510, there's nothing better. And the last thing I did was I took a clean and with no product, Sonia Kashuk number 19, and I just kind of blended that cheek into the highlight. Normally I like a really sharp highlight. For this, I wanted it to really be soft and gradually become blinding. Obviously it's me and it's my wedding, and for it to not be blinding would be weird, but I really wanted it to be soft and diffused and natural, and then the second you hit that high point, just bam. And the last thing we're gonna do is we're gonna set with the Morphe Prep and Set. I'm gonna insert a picture just because no one will ever believe me, but honestly, this bottle stood on the table of the sweetheart table between me and Brandon all night. I feel like not minutes, but every couple hours, I was just hitting up the face with this. This bottle's almost empty and I need to get a new one. But all night long, I was using this to set and touch up and really just mist, and my makeup held up beautifully all night long. And that's the finished look. This is my soft and natural, for me, bridal glam. This is what I did on my wedding day, and honestly, it is so beautiful. It is so natural. It is so clean. And I mean, you can tone down the inner corner and the highlight if you really want something more natural, but for me, this is about as natural as it gets. So I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you for helping me relive my wedding day, even though it was only 4 days ago. But I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you next time. Bye.